All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's a little bit before 10, so I guess a little bit before 11, I could quit. I don't have any long material written up, but I do have. There. Okay, so anyway, I don't have any material. I am taking this off the cuff, so to speak. And from some stuff that has happened in my life. I over the past many years, I learned to just shut up and deal with somebody either taking my thunder or stepping on my toes, and no apology, no, it was just like my kids seen it so much that my son started to treat me like that. And I go, hold it. He's yelled at me for moving something that was in front of a receptacle that I can warm up my breakfast. And I'm like, there's no microwave, there's nothing. And he went when I was live. And I'm like, hold it. I'm not backing down. How am I supposed to eat? So I have been standing just up for myself, not to be a mean, evil bitch, just, hey, it's, it takes a little bit, that's all. Anyway, I have felt better about loving myself and who I am, because I'm always curious, hey, am I a decent person? Do I need to, say apologies online or whatever? And I'm like, no. Just like when I was told at the pit, I was told after someone stole from me to apologize to, because they don't like to be known as a thief. Well, then don't have a gambling problem, baby. Get your help and don't expect people to apologize for when you steal from them. Oh God, that just blew me. The last day I was there, and go, if I don't apologize, you know what? And then I thought to myself, if I apologize, it's like saying, hey, come steal from me some more. So I left it at that and left my job with my head held high. I thought, yeah, she all out know what she telling people, what's going on, but yeah. So here we go. Snake Lady gonna be talking. Yeah, I got my whole outfit, I even though I don't go out, and this is something I have talked with other therapists with, even if you don't go out and it's hot, it's crappy, wear something nice. See, I wear my nice skirt, it's got the chains and stuff. Woo, and feel good about yourself. You don't have to have validation. You know what I hate? People who have to feel validated. I need to be validated that I'm a human being. I need more lights. Oh crap. There we go. I need more validation to be a human being. No, I need to feel pretty because I want to feel pretty. I want to wear a nice outfit. I want to wear something that's feminine. And I do that. Not because I got anyone I'm trying to skedaddle out. We got to love ourselves. We really do. If we all don't love ourselves and show ourselves some respect. We're not talking just taking care of the hair and the things that people see. We're talking about taking care of yourself on the end, how you feel about yourself when you take your clothes off. Do you kind of look, go, hey, that's pretty good. I just need a little this and that. I'm good. Or you just love yourself the way it is because that's how you're made. You're made a certain way. You're never going to get, some people are not made to get humongous, rippling, muscles. Are made a certain way. And we got to love ourselves. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to just throw something on because I don't care about my ex. I don't give a fuck if he sees me. But I stay away from him. And I wear something nice that I feel nice in. I don't have to be validated by someone down the street or my next door neighbor or my kid. I don't need to be validated. Where are you going? You dressing up somewhere? No, I want to feel nice about myself. If I want to wear a skirt, a skirt, something that looks nice when I go out, or if I don't, I feel nice. Makes you feel that I feel good looking, but no one's seeing me except here on this. Shh. You gotta love yourself. Don't love yourself, you're going to be falling short. You have to, the first person you forgive on your list of forgiveness is you. You gotta forgive yourself all the shit that you did. All the times that you went online and acted stupid, all the times that your negative part came out and it wasn't like in a good way. Those are the things that you got to forgive. You got to forgive yourself. And those are the hardest things. I could have forgiven so many people 5, 10 times over, including my mama. My mama and my brother loved to steal my identity. They thought it was a fun thing. They took turns stealing my, it's been 7 years, Erica Jr., you better go and steal her identity. It's just lost open. Oh yeah, that was the last person who stole it, was my sibling for a cell phone while I was on welfare. I was blown away, and it's right in his area. And I'm sure if there were people who kept track of his old phone number, it would track up to that because he was on a reality show back then. Oh yeah. In fact, I still talk to one of the directors on my Facebook. We talk back and forth. He's a very easygoing, just a, nice gay guy. And he just is going through a rough patch in his life. And I'm just going, oh boy, I'm glad it's not me. I'll send you love and life, but you got your own path you're going. We got my own path and I go my own thing. But yeah, anyone who deals with my brother, let me explain this. My brother's not normal. Oh, he tells everybody I did some horrible I never did anything to him. But my brother told his one wife that was just absolutely horrible. He's telling stuff, and my ex goes, "That happened to you?" And I go, "I know." And my dad, will confirm, "Nope, that didn't happen to Eric. That happened to your sister." So after a while, my brother had some friends. And I said, I'm just tired of talking about this shit. And my brother was just putting out the whoppers of lies. Oh, yeah, it was Whopper time. I felt like I was home of the Whopper burger, but it was lies. I said, here's my dad's email. I told him your email address and look for it. And he talked to some of Eric's friends who he had him saying, you're going to lose your job if he knows where you work. Oh, he is going to have fun. And that's what he did. A lot of the people who had him over at the work hoping to get on his reality show. You see, he was going to be on another reality show. It'd be like somebody that you're like going against, and he didn't want to do that. And I go, oh, because bitch would lose. So anyhow, he doesn't do the reality show. I said, hey, the reality show meant I wouldn't be in it. I'm cool. But you got to look at this. You can't lie and say you're this and that and you're not. It was like a big thing my brother was doing. And I stepped out and I said, I'm so glad Daddy's still practicing law. He knew someone over in California, and boy, I got taken out of that one. Oh, yeah, I told them they put him on paper and he nuttier than a Christmas fruitcake. and you're believing him. I'm going, ooh, boy, you guys. I told the two directors, oh, I have a feeling that you're going to be finding out the truth. And they did. Oh, yeah. No one said anything. They figured it out. Like I told them, I'm not going to squeal, but boy, you're going to figure this shit out. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be gone. And that's how it was. I walked away from it. The only thing I wish I would have done, and that was the director said that my husband and I had such an unhealthy relationship because they went over and they were at the VFW and they had actual footage of him and a certain person there getting beyond certain clothes. They were making out in the corner and they were going, you really need to get rid of him. I wish I would have done it earlier. It would have been so much easier. I could have just done a lot easier, but in a lot of ways, I wouldn't have had a place to stay on this lot. So things happened the way they did. And now I live with my, oh God, this is like a person's own nightmare, or would it be like hell for the time being divorced and having to live with your significant other? And he every so often goes on your YouTube account, where you put on your videos. And he says nasty stuff to people that aren't true. He's a lovely thing. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't do him if he was the last motherfucker on earth. Oh, yeah. No, there's no, I wouldn't be that way. I better go. Whoops. We're watching Mortal Kombat. It's Mortal Kombat. Woo. So, yeah, I don't want to get striked. Yeah, it's something else now, It's definitely, I've had people get mad and say, oh no, there's nothing going on between me and you senior psychopath. So, no, there's nothing going on. I know what he said to people. That word's just crazy wrong. She's doing all kinds of drugs and stuff. And then like 3 months, he wants me back. I'm like, dude, you said stuff to people that later on when I went to their business, they told me they couldn't hire me because of them talking to you. Lovely. I was just floored. I just sat back and go, okay, I got this going on. And every so often, he does make a wonderful visit over on my chat, acts like a woman, and he's not a woman, and says all kinds of blasphemous stuff. It happens. It is what it is. I have my own troll, and that's where I go from. My own troll is still living. Oh, gosh. So what I'm hoping this year is I get a better paying job and I'm able to get out from under him and just borrow money from a bank and say, hey, I am worth it. I will pay back the money. Boom. I need to get a job now. So that's what my prime order is. And I'm making a list of places and I will tell you where I put stuff in. I already put it over at the chicken ranch. So, yeah. Yep. So, yeah, wow. So, yeah, my childhood. Oh, let me tell you about nerdism. All right, I'm all excited. I got my friends. And back then, you would call up people and you would play D&D. Well, a lot of times it was long distance, and I had friends in Dearborn that were D&D. So I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to go over someone's house over in the family. Hey, I called up my nerd friends, and we were all sitting in the basement, and we were playing with all our nerd friends. It was Christmas time, and it was lovely. Oh, yeah, I had everything. Oh, boy, I had the deluxe model of this stuff over. I bought it in California and then I brought it back home to Michigan and played it during the winter. Yeah, I had my nerd friends And at Christmas time, I was lucky enough to get, to play with them. Well, anywho, that's when I found out who the cheaters are and the thing. And we also tried to play where we would try to keep up the thing, but it got harder and harder. You had to meet up at least once a week. And not a lot of parents wanted to hang out 4 or 5 hours. They'd drop off and they would just sit there. You're young kid, you're not going through puberty yet. But boy, once you go through puberty, suddenly the rules changed. It went from, oh no, we're not doing the night. It's an all-day affair. And then suddenly it changed to, I have to sleep away from that, and we're going to put me in his sister's room. I'm like, fine, no big deal. Then I realized, oh my gosh, that's the reason why. But things change when you become a younger adult woman, and you're dealing with guys that are going through what they call the change. Well, anyway, D&D was the first thing. Another thing is documentaries change. You're suddenly realizing more of the stuff going around you. You're realizing that you're not just, what is around you, but other things affect you from the outside. So as I got older and I'd watch different documentaries and learn how things were made, I wouldn't eat certain things. My dad would go, crap, she learned how this was made last week and she wouldn't do this. Yeah, I was one of those kids. If I learned how something was and I didn't like how, I would be like, no, I'm not eating that. Yeah, I was a picky eater. So it wasn't until much later my parents, they tried to keep me away from certain documentaries because I wouldn't eat, and they would go, God dang it. But I watched Sesame Street and did all those things. And Comic-Con is also, guess what they're having? Rick and Morty. They're having it this year at Comic-Con. Yes, but I won't be able to go. But at least I know that Rick and Morty are going to be at Comic-Con. Don't forget to put the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. It really does. I am talking about comedy, my childhood, and going into adulthood, the differences. When you get older playing D&D, if you go for an all-night thing, they're going to think that you're doing some different drugs if you go 2 days straight. Yeah. There were a lot of people who were quite addicted to the D&D. I wasn't. It was great for the Christmas time, and we all pretty much got into, playing it, but it got to the point where after a while, I just gave it up. It got, you can only do so much when you have things going on in your life. Once you start having kids and, boom, 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 it was, before I knew it, it's like how I moved here. I thought, well, everyone comes here to I thought to die. I thought this was like a certain checkpoint near to your waiting room. And my life has exploded in a whole positive way, more different than if I would have stayed where I was at, which was Michigan. And I thought, wow, I don't know how my dad did this, but one day he must have said something to my ex about Grumpy, because he started talking about it. Before I knew it, I said to my daddy, did you mention about a place? He goes, oh yeah, I mentioned it more than once because I wanted him to see about coming and looking, and it was cheaper than Vegas. We were looking out there, and then suddenly I looked at Pahrumpi's and, oh hell, it's even cheaper. Yeah. And that's how we came to this. He tried to say it was his whole thing, but my dad kind of threw it there. And then I figured out how to get here. For about 6 months, I used my daddy's credit card and his credit rating. My ex and I paid for over 6 months. We had to show that in order to get this house. I came up with the idea because he thought it was funny that we didn't have a credit rating. I go, oh, yay. Do you realize what that means? We get to spend 6 more months in an RV, dumb some bitch. Do you realize when you don't have a credit, it's like crap? Got to start all over like we're little kids, you know? Let's go diaper change our asses. So, of course, you know, I had to figure things out. I hate that. You got to look up things. First, I look up videos that suggest certain websites and stuff are okay. But let me tell you about people, you know, they talk about cleaning up their credit. My son even tried it. He goes, it's better off to do this, to figure out, okay, you got something, they're going to take a lesser amount of $300. He goes, take those lesser amounts and do it when you can. And the companies you want to deal with. He said, because the $800 one that they're trying to get with me that already is past 7 years, my brother took and stole my identity so he can get a Verizon phone. Oh, lovely. Mm-hmm. Because I got a new phone this year. Oh yeah, and it's a new iPhone. It's got 2 terabyte. Yeah, I got 2 terabyte just alone. So I just thought, what would they give? Oh yeah, you know, yeah. I can dispute it, but if I open it up again, that means they'll be looking for their $800. But I'm sure, you know, it's about the time that he was doing his reality show, and he rather put snow up his nose than $800. You know, and he can say what he all wants to, because it is what it is, and that's where it is. Okay. So as a kid, being a nerd was great. You know, you get to dress up. I like to dress up. I would do, my friends and I, we'd get bored. I get a call. Hey, you want to go and see if you can make some extra change? What we would do is dress up over at the Renaissance Festival and be like the players, you know, and make some extra money so you can get, you know. So I thought, well, I never done this, you know, so, you know, show me what to do. And they said, oh, it's easy. We played around and got people involved and did all kinds of stuff and had a blast. Everyone took pictures, videos, and then we made money. And what we would do is we would take our money and we would put it in a thing, and everybody, you know, we would all count it, and then we would distribute it between us. So if it was $300 and it was 3 of us, that meant 3 of us got $100 a piece. But usually we made pretty good. So what happened was, in the middle of summer, when we're not summer, in the middle of the time that they were having, you know, this go on, they decided to make their own because they figured they were the better part of the group. And we're like, no, they're the part of the group that comes late and gets drunk and stupid, and they're almost taking, no, let them go alone. So we had 4 people and they had 3. They thought they were going to not have to share the money, and we were all good with that because, you see, they were not the nerds, you know, they were like part of the football team, and you're going, oh, you guys are going to be okay, bye-bye. So they left and were hanging at the tavern. Now, mind you, I don't know how they got what they did, but they did. And they were like, you know, they weren't 18, or they were 21. We were 21 and we were 21 and doing this because that's what you do when you live in a small town. And yeah, so your friend, the 3 guys are getting tanked, and we're like, oh crap, we're going to have, you know. So we go and do our working because we knew that the guys were being stupid and we were happy. So we're playing with the people and talking about the ugly mask and, you know, having fun. And we had a whoopee thing, and not electronic one. We go and make people fart. We do all kinds of fun little things. We just do it all. And it was hard work. It was 2 months of hard work if you skied or did a certain sport that hindered your ability to hold down a job, which I did. I was like, okay, I got 8 weeks to make money and put that away so I can have money for things down the road, car, whatever. I was just saving like a mad woman. So here I am. I'm working these, and these guys are getting stupid. It's nearing the end of the night, and we pull our stuff. Now, mind you, there's four of us. We go, and I said, let's not do it like we usually do it. Let's go in my car, my tank. We called it the green machine, and let's leave early before those guys realize that everyone's going. He goes, okay. So we leave, and we're gone. And we counted the money, and it was $400. So we all got $100 a piece, and I drive where they're at, and we all leave together. And we hear that they were, so drunk that they just, put them in this one cot by the area, and they just said, put all their alcohol away. And they said when they woke up, the guys were gone. I don't know what happened to them, but yeah, we never seen them again. They were assholes for 2 weeks, and I'm like, they're messing with our shit, But anyway, once we got going, we would make about close to between $50 to $100 a night. And if you're not going to school, you're, like you take some time off from work because you're making more being an entertainer. That's what we did. And I knew I'd make a certain amount of money. Friday and Saturday were like the biggest, because they would start Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they would, they had things where you can go during the week. So I just hung out there. On the average, I would work Monday through Thursday, and then I worked the whole rest of the weekend. I said, oh no, I make up something. Hey, I got to be there. And that's what I did. I made a little extra money, and I had a lot of fun. So yeah. Do you know what, when you're with intelligent people, they usually don't talk about other people? That's how you know you're in with intelligent people. They're not talking about the neighbors. They're not talking about this person. Intelligent people talk about things that are going on that could affect you. It could be the solar flares. It could be the earthquakes that are happening right now. It could be all that weird weather that is going in the Midwest, down in like New York and all that stuff. Now that's more important because that is affecting us. All that weird weather and the El Nino and Yano, and boy, they come up with so many different things of making you think, God dang. So anyway, I thought to myself, wow, there's just so much going on here with all the weird weather. And we got some superheated shit. Yeah. The next couple of weeks, it's going to be hotter than anything. Yeah. Man, I want to get my hot tub out because then I won't even have to heat it up. You just put it out in the sun and can boil. You already see some of the videos. Everyone's like taking a skillet outside and trying to heat it up. I'm going to try that myself, see how that works. But yeah, be very careful. Like I tell people, if you're traveling out and you think that you have to go out and it's 115 in the shade, you need to figure out, even if you have a new car, you got a lease car, whatever the deal is, take a gallon jug per person. So if you got 4 people in there and a baby, take 5 gallons, the baby will just get an extra, that's the way I would. And I've done that before. And I always thought it was funny. My grandma always had gallons of water. Well, we live in the desert, she explained to me, and that even though the car is in perfect running condition, you never know. We never had to use any of the gallons of jugs my grandma brought in her big vehicle, but yeah. So in the time when I was a kid, we used to go to the plunge. That's what we called it. They built it in the 70s. It'd be late 70s, early 80s over in Colton. Oh boy, that was really nice. Really. I'd go there, we'd go swimming all day. We did that. And then one day, my aunt said, you know, we're looking at a house that we're going to put a pool in there. I was so excited. Yep, my grandpa put a pool in there for her, and everyone was all jealous and talking about favoritism. And I'm thinking, I think grandma and grandpa helped dad in different ways, and uncle, Conrad in different ways. Everybody got that. So she got this beautiful pool. Oh, I loved it. That whole pool took up pretty much her whole yard, but that was her love. She'd go in it and swim and swim. I remember going in there. I learned how to do my backflips. My uncle would spot me, and I used to do black flips on the thing until I did it by myself, and all kinds of fun things. And then when you grow up and you think people get jealous for the dumbest shit. My daddy was jealous because Aunt Karen got a pool. I knew how much that pool was. He told me how much, and I said, that's about what I was thinking. Because it cost about that much for my daddy's pool. And let's be honest, my daddy's pool is way bigger than what her yard can hold. It's that big. It's a big ass pool. And still, I said, Daddy, all those times you needed money for this, that, whatnot. I'm naming them. Who paid them? And did you pay it back? And he got real quiet. I bet you it adds up more than Aunt Karen's pool. And he didn't think about it until I stated, I'm just putting it out there, Daddy. I know what everyone's gone through, and I know that even though my uncle Conrad gave the best advice as a therapist, his life fucking sucked. He had a woman that could probably outsteal my mama. Man, my mama could have learned a lot from her. She never got caught. I think my mama just got a little bit too, and she just would, yeah, after a while, I guess she just would run or whatever. I don't know. All I know is she never got in trouble from stealing. It was when it came to stealing from the government. She added a couple more kids to the itinerary, and the welfare kind of looked at her. Oh, you think we're going to spank you? And they did. 12 years my mama did. 6 years per child. 2 extra kids, 6 years a child. My daddy, because he said, and which it held and showed true, that she was doing all this stuff when my daddy was gone at work. And because of that, there was enough proof my daddy only did 6 months worth of jail. Oh, but my mom had 12 years. My daddy divorced her. More than just what she did then. It was other stuff that happened. But that's just something. So here it is, I being a nerd is fun. It really is. Oh, and if you want to go on my StreamYard, let me go and do. All right. There we go. So I got StreamYard going. Yesterday I didn't, and I had someone very special come in. It was Mr. X. Oh my Lord. Woo. That is all kinds of sexy. Like you cannot believe. I couldn't believe that he had come in, but he was asking a question about somebody, and I stated, no, I don't talk about people as something negative or whatever. My brother, he thought he was doing right. He thought he was, I don't know, borrowing it and he would pay it, but he let it go and it cost me $800. That's why it was such a problem for me buying the house. Yeah. So now I understand the reason why. So I'm paying my bills, and being that Verizon let me pretty much buy this phone, yeah, let me buy this phone. But 8 years ago, my brother, I was on a welfare and it was hard. Yes, I did not afford anything expensive because my brother screwed up my credit again. Well, somebody, either my brother or my mama, and yes, you got to forgive them. And like I said, the hardest person to forgive is yourself. It's the hardest person to forgive because you always think, and a lot of people go, hey, I'm a strong person, I'm this kind of person, but they don't realize that sometimes you do need help, you do need other people, and if they offer it to you, it's like that whole thing, you pray and you get a bunch of people offering you help, but you want, you know, you're sending out the vibe, you need help, and all these people are coming to help you, then that's what you should receive. So it's times you've got to go from your prideful and just love yourself. You got to love yourself, because if you don't forgive yourself and other people, you can't move on, and it sucks. I've seen what happens. My friend Crazy Christine, she couldn't move on from the abandonment from her mother and father. And she never moved on. She just stayed in the same stew, and she stepped up only so far, and that ceiling never moved up. She never, when I finally said, I can't deal with your shit, it was because my frequency no longer was the same as hers that it was so many years ago. It just changed. I couldn't deal with it no more. She just felt like she was crazy as fucking drinking a whole lot. I have never seen someone who can outdrink me. And she's the person where I bought this big crystal, this amethyst, came from Crazy Christine. And I really cared about her as a person. But I one day said, hey, we're not on the same page no more. Yeah. I quit talking to her and getting caught up in her arguments. And she realized that my ex and her had a whole lot more in common, and hung out with them for 3 months and came back here. I said, I'm getting a divorce. Yeah, that's what she walked into. I wasn't even joking around. I said, I'm done. You want to play, husband when you feel like it? That's not the rule and regulation. You're supposed to call up. You call up whenever the fuck you feel like. It's like, hey, I'm the sometimes husband. It's like, wow, you feel like saving somebody? What about me? Oh, no. No, I when I got my neck surgery done, and I dealt with not taking a shower for 2 weeks because Mr. Happy Pants was too lazy. Yeah, I realized he was an asshole. So yeah. Oh, and I do, of course, over here, right here, StreamYard. So and feel free to put a thumbs up. Yes. And yes, I was a nerd. I watched documentaries. When I was a kid, I found out how hot dogs were made. I didn't eat hot dogs all that summer. Oh, yeah. My family was very careful in watching the documentaries after that one. Yes, I did end up eating hot dogs later in life, but for a long time, I didn't eat hot dogs. Uh, And I'm just trying to make it to the 30-minute mark. I got to write some stuff out, write material. I haven't been, but I've been pouring into myself, and proud of that more than anything. I'm not here to do validation, to sit there and ask somebody, just, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not here to validate if I'm a good person, or if you have to ask somebody if I'm a good person, then you don't know me. You would know that just by being with me, working with me in one day. You if you're, how can I say, if you're that thick that you couldn't tell, then it is what it is. I can't do nothing about it. I've worked with people who said, like Sid Vicious, I said, you knew what kind of person I was. I didn't get a thing in a job because of the people who I hung out with. I really, it just things like that happens. Right? I will hang out with the underdog. I will be with the people, with the freaks and geeks. Yes, that's where I will be. That's how I've always been. I've never hung out with the normal people. I hung out with the people that was walking around and acting like star date, whatever. Oh, yep, we got to go and do this. Yeah. I have Star Trek stuff where I connect to my phone and I can do this. Yes, I do have that. Am I a nerd? As much as I possibly can. Yes, I do like Harry Potter and my Doctor Who. My Doctor Who was a blonde doctor with curly hair that I remember. And then years later, I had my own kids and I'm going, hey, they got a Doctor Who. And I was floored that they had this Doctor Who that I couldn't get over with. It was amazing, and David Tennant was another Doctor Who. He's one of those rememberable ones, and he was the one that ended up marrying the Doctor Who that I knew about, and he had a blonde haired daughter, and they got married. So, and that's why I like them, because they're science fiction. I was brought up around that, and horror. So, yeah, I come on here to have people forget about their problems. I don't talk about other people. I have better things to do. If you think that I'm going to think about, my pit as something I'm going to just talk about, no. There's nothing to talk about. It just is what it is. I got to move on. And, of course, forgive everybody, move on. But they still talk about me. Don't you think that's kind of odd? It's been a month. They still talk about me. Wow. So, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, I got 2 people. Put a thumbs up. Share. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. I'll see you tomorrow at 10. All right. I'm going to end the stream.